can't open these without a screwdriver. Oh, Eugene. I had no idea. It sounds like Eugene asked Bernard to stop opposing the construction of the new psychiatric hospital. And Bernard was Bernard. Highest priority, huh? That means Eugene's probably working in Bernard's office right now. Ah, this must be Eugene with his daughter. He looks like a caring father. Shoot, no screwdriver. What's life without a little challenge?
It's, Miss Belivet, isn't it?
What? Oh, Roy.
Oh, right. You're the one who took last week off, aren't you? You had to, take care of your sister, I think?
Mother. My mother. She's very sick.
No, I hope this doesn't become a recurring thing. I need to know I can count on you.
I understand, sir.
What are you doing here, anyway? Are you on break?
Yes, I am.
Don't take too long.
No, I won't.
What's going on?
Oh, Andrew.
Oh, sorry. Seems I've made a habit of sneaking up on you today. Spying on Bernard again?
No, I'm looking for a screwdriver. For the vent. Linda asked Eugene to fix Bernard's window.
Ah, gotcha.
Eugene?
What the... maybe you should go have a look. You know what? I'll stand guard by the elevator and, holler if Bernard approaches.
Okay, thanks. I'll be quick. Opposing something that could help so many people just because it's close to your hotel? This is ridiculous. So, I take it the open window was not an accident. Can't say I blame you, Eugene. Aha! Let's get you to that vent. With this blizzard, Bernard's office will be a skating rink by the end of the day. Best to avoid that. This does not look like a nice brotherly check-in. I had no idea things were this bad between Bernard and Raymond. Oh, Bernard. So close to doing something altruistic, but here you are holding it over your brother. What Bernard considers sinful debaucheries could fill an encyclopedia. Could be anything from wild parties to guests walking around with their ankles exposed. Well, just look at these distinguished gentlemen. And a young Bernard. Kinda wish I worked here when Raymond was in charge. Sounds like the hotel was very different back then.
Do you remember that loose tile from last week?
Yes?
Well, I'm afraid it hasn't been properly repaired.
What do you mean?
I mean that, it's still broken, sir. Someone put a rug on top of it, but you can still hear it crack. I'm just checking to make sure guests don't trip over it.
Is that part of your job description?
No, it isn't, sir.
Well, then I suggest you stop worrying about Miss Belivet. What were you doing in my office?
I wasn't. I was simply closing the door. Someone left it ajar.
Really? But that doesn't explain what you're doing on this floor. You know very well the cleaning staff isn't supposed to wander around the lobby for no reason. You wouldn't be lying to me, would you, Miss Bellevit?
No. No, I swear,
It's my fault, sir. I spilled my coffee, and so I asked Sophie to come clean it up.
Your coffee? Mr. Rossi, you're not supposed to have beverages at the front desk.
Oh, right. I'm sorry.
Come with me.
Sorry. Meet me tonight in my room. Michael will be sleeping. We need to discuss our plan.
Clarington Hotel reception desk. Andrew speaking.
It's me.
Hey, you got anything good for me?
Yeah, but I also wanted to thank you for saving my skin earlier.
Oh, no problem.
I hope I didn't get you into too much trouble.
I wasn't in trouble, per se, but I did have a pretty awkward conversation with Bernard.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, don't worry. It was just weird. He asked all kinds of personal questions. That's just so unlike him, you know? But it's alright. I'd rather have that than his usual sermons. Anyway, did you manage to open the vent? What was in it?
I found another message written in secret code.
And?
It says, "Meet me tonight in my room. Michael will be sleeping. We need to discuss our plan."
Who's Michael? A guest's husband?
I don't know. It's the first time I'm hearing of a Michael in this story.
Yeah, the cast keeps getting bigger. I'll just check the logbook. There's a Michael staying in room 507.
Mrs. Beaumont's room? But she doesn't have a husband. She's here alone with... Oh, Michael must be her son. I got him some extra blankets the other day so he could build a fort.
That's really nice of you. So, Mrs. Beaumont is linked to the cruises, huh? I have a feeling we may be approaching the climax of this story.
I guess I should go have a look at 507, but it's not on my list. There's a do not disturb sign on the door.
How about I call up there? You know, to make sure no one's home.
Good idea.
Just a sec. Well, it looks like the room is ready for your snooping, my lady.
Thank you, good sir. I'll call you back. So you were eager to set up a meeting, but didn't want anyone noticing. Did Marcella send this? Oh, Michael. Adults can be so confusing. promise it's not you. Sounds like this is from your school days, but the name of the sender is smudged. So a husband can abuse his wife and just get away with it? And people like Linda still think divorce is wrong? Ugh. That look in your eyes. What does it mean? And who is this from? Ah, that's so sweet. I didn't do much, but I'm glad it meant something to you. Mr. Cruz, huh? Numbers, dates, times. What does it all mean? You almost look like Marcella. He's all but outright threatening you. Oh, I hope you can stay as far away from him as possible. Looks like someone grew tired of looking at your face, Mr. Beaumont. Aha! Keys are Snoop's best friend. Ah, there you are. With Marcella. God knows where she is.
Clarington Hotel reception desk, Andrew speaking.
Hey, Andrew.
Sophie, crazy timing. I've got something for you.
Oh, what is it?
I heard a certain Mr. Cruz and a Mr. Morgan had an argument yesterday evening.
Really? Who told you that?
Jacques did. Apparently, it got so heated he had to get involved. And it sounds like I was on the right track, because he heard a particular word thrown around quite a lot. Can you guess what it is?
Blackmail?
Well, that was your theory, remember? No, it's affair.
Affair? How bad was the fight?
I think Jacques got in the middle of it before it got too intense, but he said Mr. Cruz looked like he was about to kill Mr. Morgan. So Mrs. Cruz must be having an affair with him, right? And her husband found out?
Maybe, but that doesn't explain Mrs. Beaumont's involvement with Mrs. Cruz.
What do you mean?
I found a chest in room 507. I think it can only be opened by turning 2 keys at once. I found one of them in Mrs. Beaumont's things.
What about the second one?
Well, I remembered seeing a similar key in one of Mr. Morgan's stocking pictures, so I went back to check. Mrs. Cruz wears it as a pendant. It looks identical to Mrs. Beaumont's key.
Let me get this straight. Mrs. Beaumont and Mrs. Cruz own identical keys that open a chest with 2 locks? Okay, there's definitely something going on between them.
Yeah, but the answers probably lie in that chest, and I don't think I'll be able to open it. I've looked around room 509. I would have seen the second key if it was there. Mrs. Cruz must have left with it this morning.
Probably.
We were so close. I can't believe it all ends here.
Well, if you get me a candle and some plaster, I may be able to do something about that chest.
How?
I'll tell you later, okay? Just find those things, and I'll meet you in the basement as soon as I can.
All right. Thank you for not giving up.
I would never give up on you.
So you do have a stash of candles. But where is it? No candles, but this looks like the laundry room. That must be the location of Rebecca's stash. Stash uncovered. Reb, you won't mind if I just take one, right?
There you are.
I'm not sure I understand what the plan is here.
Well, I remember reading a spy novel, I can't remember the title, it wasn't that good, in which they used wax and plaster to make a key mold. I'm thinking we could do the same.
Are you sure it's gonna work?
Sure? No. In the novel, they used a special kind of wax, not candle wax. But I think it's worth a shot.
Yeah, you're right.
So let's do this, shall we? First step, pour the wax, I suppose? Careful though, the pot's probably hot. That's it. Nicely done. Better wait a few seconds. Next step, put the key in the wax, right? Looks good. Pretty sure you can take it out now. I think we're almost done. All that's left is to pour the plaster from the cup into the mold. Good job. So now we wait until it's dry, I guess.
How long do you think it's gonna take?
A few minutes, probably. We can poke it every now and then to check.
I bet you didn't think you'd be making a plaster key today, huh?
No. But I like it. I feel like I'm in one of those novels I spend my days reading.
Yeah, I always see you with a book in your hands. Do you write as well?
Oh, no. I'm terrible.
So you've tried.
I thought for a while it would be my true calling, but one of my roommates read my manuscript and assured me it wasn't for me.
What did you write?
Oh, a while back I went through a rough patch, so someone close to me suggested I write my autobiography. She thought it might help.
That sounds interesting.
It's really not. Trust me, my life doesn't deserve to be told in a book. And what about you? Do you write?
Not really. I mean, I have this journal in which I write about my day and stuff, you know? And sometimes I scribble down some story ideas, but I've never had the time to properly develop them.
Hey, why don't you come over sometime? We could read each other's writing. What do you think?
Okay, why not? Just promise not to laugh.
I won't laugh at yours if you don't laugh at mine. But seriously, I'm sure you're underselling yourself. With all the things you see in guests' rooms, that brain of yours must be bursting with great ideas.
Maybe. We'll see.
Oh, look. I think our key double is dry and ready to go.
I can't believe it worked. I could not have done this without you.
Well, I'm glad I was able to be of some help. I should get back upstairs, though. I've been gone far too long already. Let me know how it goes with the key. Oh, and you should probably be careful when you turn it. Otherwise, it could break inside the lock.
Yeah, I'll be careful. Thank you for everything.
You're welcome, Sophie.
Be careful, Sophie. You don't want this key to break. Unlike my favorite bar, this one was black. Her alliterative name will surely take you back. These two sure love their riddles. Huh. Marcella invited you to the movies. Let me guess. You said yes. Doris Day. That's an alliteration, isn't it? Doris. I-S. That novelist, Bridget Boswell, is actually you, Marcella? Oh, Anne. Murder might be a bit much, but you deserve some kind of justice. I do like a happy ending. I just hope that's where your story is headed. Oh, so you came to Montreal under the pretense of celebrating your wedding anniversary, but all along, you meant to reunite with Anne. After all this, turns out you're a fan of Bridget? Of Marcella? That's a lot sweeter than I expected. I'm glad you were able to open up to Marcella like this. Everyone needs someone to talk to. An advance on my salary. So Marcella hired you. But what for?
So this was all a story about star-crossed lovers, with the lovers in question being Mrs. Beaumont and Mrs. Cruz?
Seems like it, yeah. But I'm not sure whether they chose to meet here just to reconnect for a few days, or if there's something more to it.
Actually, I think I can help with that.
Really? How?
Well, some mail just arrived here for Mrs. Beaumont.
You've opened it, right?
What? Of course not. I mean, it's illegal.
Aren't you intrigued?
Of course. But I can't just... Oh, all right. I'll open it.
I'm a bad influence on you.
Well, you've been doing all the snooping so far. It's about time I take a little risk, too.
So, what's in it?
It's a tourism pamphlet for California and 3 train tickets. What do you think this means?
I'd say Anne and Marcella are probably planning to run away from their husbands. Those train tickets must be for them and Michael.
So you're on a first-name basis now, huh?
Well, after reading so much of their correspondence, I kind of feel like I know them, you know?
Yeah, like characters in a book. I have to say, though, I'm still a bit confused as to how Paul fits into all of this.
I think Marcella hired him. I found some letters Paul wrote to her. He said that her proposition took him by surprise, and that he'd need an advance on his salary.
What would she hire him for, though?
I'm not sure. I didn't find the letter he was replying to.
And why did he have those pictures of you?
We'll probably never know. I think the trail ends here.
I guess investigations in real life always have some loose ends. I was kinda hoping we'd have this big third act reveal, to be honest.
At least it made our day pretty interesting.
That's for sure. It helped me understand you better, too.
Oh?
Why you snoop, I mean. Piecing together people's stories, learning what makes them tick. It makes you realize we may have more in common than it seems.
You're right. Which is why the next story I'd like to learn is yours, Andrew.
Oh? Am I gonna find you snooping through my apartment next?
No.
I would love to share my story with you, Sophie. You're the first person in a long time who's made me feel like I can. Would you come and see me when your shift ends? We could leave together, if you'd like.
Sure. If we're able to. With all that snow, I'm thinking maybe we'll have no choice but to spend the night here.
I guess that wouldn't be so bad. We could set up a pillow fort on the mezzanine.
A pillow fort? We do work in a hotel, you know. There are actual beds here.
Oh, I wouldn't be sleeping. I've got a reading list the size of the Eiffel Tower. This would be the perfect chance to put a dent in it.
That does sound like fun. I could bring my magazines and, ooh, maybe light some of Rebecca's candles.
Now I kinda hope we do get stuck here.
Mr. Cruz? Mr. Cruz. Oh God. Oh God. What happened? Mr. Cruz's life insurance policy. Why did he have this on him? Just stop for a second, Sophie. Is there anything you missed? Is this about Paul? Does that mean... These look like Marcella's pearls. What happened here? A. B. and Beaumont. Poor Paul. Lindsay's death really hit him hard. He hasn't been in the best headspace. So Paul just needed to pass the time while Marcella was away. That's why he was observing us. Paul was hiding out right here. Did he ever find the person who was sneaking out at night? 9:45? So Anne and Marcella met here this morning while I was busy cleaning room 504. Looks like Paul had to stop writing in a hurry. What happened? I was listening to the radio at the time. Did the music drown out the noise? Oh, so Paul's work with Marcella was to follow her around like a private investigator, to help her with research for her novel. Paul really got into his role. He followed Marcella to Montreal even though she was done with her research. It's too big. I guess I'll need something pointier. That worked, thank God. Now, to get the power back. Eugene, what I would gift to have you with me right now. Your note will have to make do. How did this end up here? Not much use without the rest of the code. Unless those numbers I found in the laundry room, could they be part of the same combination? The bodies of a woman and 3 children. 3 children? Oh. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Montreal Police Service, Station 22.
There's a man dead. He's been murdered. I need the police.
Please stay calm, ma'am. Where are you right now?
The lobby, but the body, it's upstairs.
Can you give me the address, please?
Oh, 1178 Drummond Street.
All right, ma'am. Officers are on their way.
Thank you.
Hey, you're here. I've tried restoring the power, but I think Eugene's the only one with the key to the fuse box, and Sophie? Don't worry, I'll find a way to bring the lights back on. Hey, you look a bit pale. Is everything okay?
I found Mr. Cruz. Hector.
He's back? How's he taking that whole thing with his wife?
You don't understand. I found his body. He's dead, Andrew.
Jesus. Maybe you need to sit down, huh? Did you call the police?
Yeah, they're on their way.
What happened? Was he sick or something?
No, I don't think so. Someone did this to him.
You mean... Jesus. Do you think it could be Paul?
What about Anne and Marcella? Their affair is a pretty good motive. I also found a letter from one of Hector's customers. He seemed really angry. I guess it could be him as well.
The police will want to ask you a lot of questions. You may want to be careful about what you tell them. With Paul's history of mental illness, there's a good chance they'll suspect him even if he didn't do it.
What are you saying?
What I mean is... that spending some time in a psychiatric hospital doesn't make you a murderous psychopath. But for some reason, that's what everyone seems to think. The police especially.
Yeah. I hadn't thought of that.
You know, when I was 19, I studied to be a priest. But I felt so lost. I couldn't enjoy the things I used to like. I could barely get myself out of bed. So I ended up going to a psychiatric hospital. And the doctors, they helped me get back on my feet. But when I returned to my hometown, it was like I had become a complete stranger. My mother kept telling me I was making it worse in my head, but I swear, people were changing sidewalks when they saw me, looking at me as if I was this dangerous creature all of a sudden. That's why I didn't tell you that.
What?
Call it coincidence or fate, but that psychiatric hospital, it's the same one Paul went to. I've met him there, talked to him a bit. I'm sorry I didn't say anything before.
It's okay. I get why you didn't.
You do?
You know how I tell everyone that my mom's sick, bedridden? Well, it's true, but I always leave out the part about her illness not being physical. I'm ashamed of the truth. So even though I don't know exactly what you went through, I can understand.
Thank you for telling me. I know it's not an easy thing to talk about, but if you ever want to talk about your mom, I'm here. They're here. Promise me you'll be careful with the information you share.
Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Miss Roy? Miss Roy? Miss Roy!
Oh, sorry. I was distracted.
I really need you to focus right now. I don't want to be here all night, and I'm sure you don't either.
No. No, I don't.
So, as I was saying, we're trying to ascertain the circumstances of Mr. Cruz's death. Can you tell me how you came to find the body?
I was cleaning room 509 when I heard the elevator bell ring. Again and again and again. I thought maybe a child was playing with the doors, so I went out in the corridor, and that's when I saw him. All the blood and...
Why was the elevator bell ringing?
I'm sorry?
You said you heard the elevator bell ring. Why was it ringing? I assume it wasn't a child after all.
Well, Mr. Cruz's body was preventing the doors from closing.
Really? When we found the body, it wasn't that close to the doors.
Oh, the stairs are blocked because of the renovations, so the elevator's the only way out of the 5th floor. I had no choice but to move the body. Just a little.
Ah, so that explains the traces we found. Thank you for clearing that up. So, what did you do after that?
Well, that's when the power cut. So I had to go to the janitor's closet.
To access the fuse box.
Exactly. I changed a few fuses and turned the power back on.
But there's a lock on that box, isn't there? Did you have the key?
No, I didn't. Only Eugene does. But I thought an ice pick might do the trick, so I went to the ice machine to get one.
You're a size 7, I suppose.
Yes, I am. Why?
What did you see when you went to the ice machine?
There was blood. A lot of it.
Did you touch anything?
No. No, nothing.
That's weird. It sure looks like someone poked around the crime scene. Oh well. We'll know more once the fingerprint analysis comes in, won't we? So, what did you do after restoring the power?
I took the elevator down to the lobby. That's where I called the police.
Do you remember what you said to the operator? The exact words.
No, I'm afraid I don't.
You said, there's a man dead. He's been murdered.
That's possible.
What makes you so sure it was murder?
Well, I know about Mr. Cruz's angry customer. The one who sent him death threats.
Oh, yes, we found those. But the customer in question lives back in Texas, so there's no way he could have killed Mr. Cruz.
Actually, I think he may be staying at the hotel.
Have you encountered him?
No. In room 504, there's a guest who seems to be traveling alone. Yet, he has these 3 teddy bears in his room. Mr. Cruz's customer lost his 3 children in a fire, and these bears are slightly burnt. So...
An interesting deduction. I'll look into that. But how do you even know about the death threats?
Mr. Cruz told me the other day.
Really? Was he in the habit of talking about his personal life with hotel maids?
I really can't say what his habits were, but he seemed to like me.
Then maybe you'll be able to answer 1 or 2 of my questions.
I'll do my best.
We've learned from one of your colleagues that the victim had a fight with a guest named Mr. Spade. What can you tell me about him?
I don't really know anything about him. He seems nice, though.
You wouldn't be trying to protect him, would you, Miss Roy? Because that could land you in jail.
No, I'm not.
Let's try something else then. The victim's wife, Marcela Cruz. Apparently she left in quite a hurry this morning. What can you tell me about her?
I don't know much. Only that she looks like a loving, caring wife.
Does she? It's very odd. Both Mr. Spade and Mrs. Cruz are prime suspects in this case, and yet we have very little evidence on either of them. It's almost as if someone has cleaned up after them. I really hope I'm wrong, though, because if I'm right, that would be obstruction of justice, and the people, or person, responsible could face very serious consequences. But hey, I guess we'll know soon enough.
Bernard was strangely chipper on the phone. That can't be a good sign. I guess I'll know soon enough.
I'll go empty my locker.
Andrew!
Hey.
Are you okay?
I've just been fired.
What? No,
It's okay. I just need some time to process it. I'll be on the mezzanine if you want to join me afterwards.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, right. Come in. So, I suppose you know why you're here?
I would guess it has something to do with the murder.
Well, as you may be aware, the hotel's reputation has taken a solid hit. We've been mocked and ridiculed by the papers. It's truly humiliating. And that's not even the worst of it. With a story like this, guests may not flood through our doors again for a very long time. If ever, I may have no choice but to sell the hotel. Just Years of arduous work gone down the drain. Anyway, it's clear now that we're going to have to tighten our belts for at least a couple of months, which means cutting off dead weight.
I suppose I'm the dead weight.
Yes, you've been quite the disappointment. I may have been too busy to notice it before, but now that it's staring me right in the face, I cannot continue to ignore it. You're fired.
What? You can't fire me. Because I quit.
Sure. I fire you, you quit. It's all the same to me. Just make sure to empty your locker before the end of the month. That'll be all.
Hey.
Hey,
What a week.
you don't say. So what did Bernard want with you?
Well, he was being kind of a jerk, so I quit.
You what?
I quit. I figured there was no point in staying if you were leaving.
I'm flattered, but that really wasn't necessary.
I think it's for the best. Did Bernard say why he was firing you?
Oh, well, he told me I wasn't as efficient as I used to be. Gave me this ultimatum. I said I couldn't handle any more pressure, so he showed me the door. With his new budget cuts, I had a feeling something like this would happen.
So, what's next for you?
I think I'd like to be my own boss. No more Bernard looking over my shoulder. I've had this dream for a while of maybe opening a bookstore.
I can't say I'm surprised.
It just makes so much sense. I'd be able to combine the two things I love most, reading books and helping people. Granted, helping people find books is a far cry from helping them find God, but...
My mom likes to say there's no job too small. Plus, just by the way you're talking about it, it's obvious it'd make you happy. And that's what really matters, I think.
Yeah, you're right. Thank you. I'm really glad I have you in my life.
Me too. Can I?
Kiss me?
Yes.
Please do.
That was...
Yeah, it was.
What do you think will happen to them?
Who?
Sorry, my mind wanders sometimes. I meant Paul, Anne, and Marcella. Do you think they'll be released?
What do you think?
I don't know. I wish they'd get a happy ending, but I'm not sure it's that kind of story.
I'd like to believe it is. I think Paul becomes a famed photographer. He gets his own studio and decorates it like a hotel bathroom. As for Anne and Marcella, they move in together. But they keep leaving each other notes in the vents. You know, for old time's sake.
I like it. Maybe you should write that.
Maybe I will. Hey, it's that detective. What's he doing here?
Let's not make a scene, all right?
A scene? What's going on?
Andrew, it's okay.
I warned you where obstruction of justice would get you, Miss Roy. So here we are. You're under arrest.
What? This is nonsense. What are you doing? You can't just... You can't... They can't just